Hello, I'm Jo Howarth from the Happiness Club and welcome to another one of my World of Happiness interviews. Today I have the frankly awesome Andrea Detchon with me. She is the joy scientist and I think this interview is going to be quite amusing. So let's see what happens. Hello, gorgeous. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Can you start for me by explaining what you do? She just asked. That's what she
Just
does.
laughing really basically. So my work is with people who are not enjoying their lives. They're stuck and miserable and they don't know what they're doing or where they're going.
Okay.
And what I do is I help people to find what makes them sing from the inside, to make them smile and be joyful and happy. And so I work with yoga, with alternative therapies, crystals, Reiki, and coaching stuff, and some process development stuff from my previous life, and get people to just think outside of their normal perspective to see what actually really makes them happy, and then encourage them to do loads of that.
Cool. That's ace. Which you use quite a lot of different techniques. You've mentioned quite a lot of different. Do you have a favourite?
I think my favourite is like mixing it all together. So, like one of the things I used my previous job, I worked in process improvement, and we did a lot of like Lean Six Sigma manufacturing, lean manufacturing stuff. And I think it's funny to apply those tools to people rather than to processes. And then I suppose the yoga and the laughter as well, just because laughter cuts through so many things really quickly and really changes like how you feel physically, mentally, emotionally. And from being able to laugh, you can then see something different that's going on.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
That's how I came across you first, really, was the laughter yoga. And I'd never experienced it before I did it with you. And it's ace.
It really is.
I didn't really know what it was until you gave us that taster, and it was brilliant. It's awesome stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, I think.
Okay, so go on.
I mean, laughter yoga is one of those things that if you watch TV programs, every now and then something will pop up. So it's on Strictly, or it's been on Strictly, or it's going to be on Strictly. So there's going to be some really cool stuff there, and it's been people who travel to India often find it as well, and then they hear about it and they're like, oh, I heard about this like laughing yoga thing, and I don't know what it is. And that's kind of what I'd heard about it on the telly, but I didn't know what it was. And I went along to the training and I was just like, oh my Lord, what is this crazy thing? This is so much fun. Just laughing for no reason. And just laughing because you can. And why not? Because like the health benefits are so huge and so quick to happen. You know, you feel great instantly. It lowers your blood pressure. It makes you feel fantastic. So yeah, it's just amazing stuff.
So can you tell me, why do you do what you do?
Yes, so I do what I do because of where I came from. So I was working in corporate and as a scientist, and while I was quite good at it and I enjoyed it, and everybody around me thought that I was quite happy, I was really kind of falling apart inside. I was very stressed and very depressed. And I had all these horrible thoughts going through my head. You know, I didn't really want to be alive, and I wasn't sure about anything. You know, everything just seemed to be wrong and difficult and hard. And I it's a funny story. Oh, nearly burned my house down one day.
Yes, you do.
Bit awkward. I put 2 burgers in the grill, and I have one of these ovens that stand separate, and the grill was underneath the hob, and I closed it because my house was really small to take the washing out of the kitchen into the living room, and I closed the grill with the burgers in on the foil on full heat, because you know, if you're not going to cook something quickly, then there's no point. And then I went outside and started watering my garden. It was a lovely summer's day, and I could smell this kind of burning smell, and I thought, oh, somebody's having a barbecue, and they burn their burgers. And then I turned around and looked at my house, and I thought, the windows seem to have steamed up. That's a bit weird. And I just Googled it, and I stuck my head in the window and was like, oh, that's not steam, that's smoke. Why is my house filled with smoke? And then I remembered the burgers. So I went running around, I had to go running around to get into the house, into the kitchen, turned off everything, and then went to open the grill. And as I opened, it had a metal handle. I opened it, came off in my hand, and I went, oh, ow, because it was burning. And then managed to prise open the door, and the burgers were like this big, like charcoal discs like that. And I was very, very lucky. But it kind of broke something inside me, and I phoned up my friend in absolute tears, saying, "Oh my God, I just nearly burnt down my house. I want to drive into a wall every day. When I go home from work, I'm like, just like everything's a disaster. I can't even cook my own dinner." And she said, "Go to the doctors." And I was like, "What?" She said, "Go to the doctors and tell them what you just told me." And I was like, "Well, they're just going to say, shut up and go back to work." And she says, "No, no, go to the doctors." So at the doctors, assuming that nothing would happen and that he'd just say, "You're fine, have a cup of tea and go back to work." And he didn't. He basically signed me off work straight away and offered me some tablets. And I was a bit like, tablets. And being a scientist and being in that industry, I knew a little bit about them. And there was a part of me that was just like, I'm not ill. I don't need tablets. Don't you know how long you've got to be on them before they work? And then if they don't work, then this happens, and then this could happen. And I'm already in a pretty much bad state. I don't want to end up being even worse.
Yeah.
I was just like, no, I don't want the tablets yet. And he said, "Well, come back in 2 weeks and we'll see, if you're not feeling any better or things haven't got better, then we'll put you on the tablets." So I was signed off work. So I actually went into work and I was like, got this letter from the doctor. He said, "I've got to go home." And I went home and basically slept for about 3 days. And then when I kind of finally woke up and came round, I was a bit like, oh, they want me to go on tablets. I need to feel better. How am I going to do that? So in order to avoid being down that route, I thought, right, I've got to go the other way. So I went into the town centre where I lived, and they've got a wellbeing clinic. And I spoke to somebody in there and had a session with them, and then started to research on alternatives. Came across all sorts of really awesome things. And so that's how I got into energy healing, Reiki, crystals, and self-development and personal development work, where you go away for a weekend and you do some ritual of some description, and then you cry a lot, and then you make a vision board, and then you write it all down, and then you kind of go on in your everyday life. And it was amazing, all the things I started to learn about myself, things that I liked, things that I didn't like, things that were upsetting me that I hadn't even noticed before. And so that's how I got into it. And then I just, being that kind of research scientist type person that I was just like, ooh, and will this help, and will this help, and will this help? And so I trained in like Indian head massage and like cocoa ear candles, which I have no influence on depression at all. But just because I was a bit like, oh, what about this and this? And so then I found my yoga as well. And then I found the laughter yoga. And then I was like, oh my God, I've got all these skills and I know all this stuff. I really want to help other people, because I'd come to realize, like in the beginning, I was like, oh, it's just me that feels like this. And then I'd come to realize that it wasn't just me that felt like that. There was lots of people who felt the same, who were also still hiding it behind the mask. And I was like, right, I'm going to do this now. So having done my laughter yoga and spent a couple of months laughing on the motorway in many traffic jams, trying to get to work, I realised that it was time to leave and to set out on my own. So that was about 4 or 5 years ago now. And now I try and spread the joy and spread the happiness and get people to look at life in that different way.
Brilliant. Brilliant. And I think that's quite common amongst people that do the kind of work that we do, isn't it? Is that you've been there, you've been in the dark place, and you've found something that brought you through the dark place, and then that's and then once you know that stuff, once you have that knowledge, it's so hard not to do it, isn't it? It's so hard not to try and help as many people as you can, because you know how powerful the stuff is. It's awesome. Brilliant. Okay, so can you tell me what gives you the biggest buzz in your work and in your life? What do you get the biggest buzz from?
From a work point of view, it's seeing somebody when they've they recognise something about themselves. They find that spark that always makes them smile. The thing that always just gets them to that point where they just go,
good smile.
It's just that, and being able to see that in somebody, from somebody who kind of, especially when people arrive for sessions with me, they tend to kind of be a bit like,
yeah,
and then they go out and they're like,
yeah, that's it. But there's no feeling like it, is there? No,
there's just nothing like it. And then for me,
oh, have you got cats? Hello.
This is Boris.
Hi, Boris. Gorgeous. You say hello to me.
And Bobby's the other one. I mean, they just, oh my god, they just, no matter what, they make me laugh. But from my own personal point of view, it's when I do my yoga, I feel amazing. There's nothing quite like just my normal yoga and the laughter yoga, just being able to laugh and laugh on my own, laugh with other people, laugh on Skype in groups, just that feeling of that kind of high that you get. It's just like nothing. I've got like 100 other things as well. I love the dancing and just like reading and gardening and like just like.
But that's it. I was having this conversation with someone the other day, because there are so many ways to lift yourself, aren't there?
Yeah.
But when you get down in that place, it's so hard to see any of them. But there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of ways to lift yourself. Some of which don't have to be, they don't have to be deep and meaningful or difficult, or you just have to know about them, really, don't you?
Like music, certain people make you feel good.
Yeah.
Like I think one of the things that I've found as well is that having lots of different little things that make you smile and make your heart sing with joy is more important than having 2 or 3 things, because if something happens and you can't do one of those things, so I love doing the morning raving thing, but it's in London and it only happens once a month, and so if it happens that I can't go, I need something else so that I'm not like, oh my god, you're doing a good dancing. I'm kind of like, oh well, I've done this instead. I've watched a film that I really love, or I've put on the music, the playlist of all the different crazy songs that I like to listen to. Or I've bought the cat a new toy, or like played with them for an extra 10 minutes. And it's having those lots of little things and just recognizing what's really important to you. And everybody's different. So like, as I say, playing with the cats is like a big thing for me, but for somebody who doesn't like cats, it's not going to work. So it's not, my work isn't about saying to somebody, all right, if you play with cats and you stroke them, it makes you feel great. Someone's like, I hate cats. They're like mental. I want a nice dog, or I want a horse, or whatever. And it's about finding like what works for you, and acknowledging that what works for me won't work for you.
Yeah, totally. Brilliant. Okay, so if you could give us one top, I know this is hard, but one top tip for a happy life, what would your top tip be? I know that's a really hard question, but what would your top tip be?
My one top tip would be to laugh. Really, because if you can, when I do, because I've done laughter kind of yoga sessions with corporates, and I say to them, how do you feel when you drive in the morning and you're stuck in the traffic on the motorway? Yeah. And I used to drive around the M25 and up and down the M40 and up and down the M4. And if you think about all that negativity that everybody's thinking on those motorways, you need somebody to bring that positivity. If you're sitting in a car and you're not moving anywhere, you're alive, you're not in a car accident, your car hasn't broken down, you're not the person causing the traffic jam, and so there's 4 things already that you've got to be grateful for. And how really, really, really important is it that you get to that place on time? Like, if you're late, is the world going to end? Yeah. And not just your world, but like the whole world, and so actually, how would you rather arrive? Would you rather, you know, arrive in the office and you're like, oh my God, it was so bad, it was terrible, and the topic is bad, and I got stuck by this stupid blah, 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 blah. And people are going to be like, oh my God, I never want to, like, oh, hi, let's go for the tea, coffee before they calm down. Let them calm down and come back in half an hour. Or do you want to be the person who arrives, but oh my God, it was terrible. I got stuck in the traffic and it was awful. You know what, I was just laughing there. And I was in the car laughing at the fact that I was stuck in the traffic. And all these people around me could see me laughing and they were going, what the hell is she doing? Why is she laughing? And I used to do like exercises as well in the car. So like the neck exercises, so I'd be like this, and like this, and like this. And of course people, you could see them kind of clocking you out the side. And it just made me laugh even more. I'm going, and they're like, what is she listening to on the radio? That's so funny. And I just like, nothing, just laughing. And that's, I suppose that's it. It's, yeah. If you can laugh at everything and anything, then you can see everything in a perspective that's more natural.
Perfect. I love that. I love that. So if people want to find out more about you and your work, where do they find you?
So I'm on Facebook and my website, and I have a few videos on YouTube.
Okay, so what's your website?
If you need a laugh, have a look at them.
I'm going to go and look for them now. What's your website address?
My website is www.thejoyscientist.co.uk. And if you go onto YouTube and do The Joy Scientist, you'll find me. If you find the car yoga, my other cat Rory will have, he plays a little bit of it. You'll see him in that. We managed to get him, he jumped in the car. And I'm like, get out of the car, and he goes, wow, and he jumps out.
Brilliant. Okay, cool. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for sharing your story and your wisdom and your laughter. Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining in.
Bye.